Hi, Pagan Shooter here. I decided to do a disassembly and reassembly of the JCP 40 caliber Hi-Point. This is going to be very similar to the C9. So just so you know, it is empty and empty. Magazines aren't even here. They're locked up in the gun safe over there. So according to what I've been told, this should be all that you need to break one of these down. Well, this works very well with the 995 TS. However, I find this is very important. A punch. It's basically used to punch out the roll pin in the back of the gun. And unfortunately, since the move, I have not been able to find all of my things. So I have to use a ridiculously large hammer. See? Ridiculously large. Anyway, so the easiest thing to do would be to prop this up on a piece of wood and then use the roll pin or the punch to push out the roll pin. And then basically it falls out the bottom, you pull out the punch, and then you are able to release the slide and pull it off. I'm going to show you using just my hand. I don't have a board anymore. I don't know where they went. So we're going to go ahead and try this without it. So essentially you would start, make sure that's empty. Obviously always make sure it's empty. And then what you would do is lock the slide back. You're going to push back on the slide, push up on the slide lock here, and that's going to expose, you'll see, the roll pin back here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on my hand like that. I'm going to use my finger and thumb to hold the punch, and I'm going to use this ridiculously large hammer. I'm going to choke up on it like that, and I'm just going to tap it out. Now I found if you do this on your leg it works, and then it comes right out. It actually doesn't take much to get it out. However, it is a little more than this will take. I would not beat on this. This would probably end up bending the pins in the back, and then your trigger lock wouldn't work. That'd be tragic. So take your roll pin, just a little roll pin. There it is right there, a little out of focus. And put that aside. Don't want to lose that. Then you release the slide, let it come forward, and then you're going to, and this part is a little hard to show without, but you push back a little, you lift up on the back, the doll's head comes out of the back of the gun, and then you slowly let it out. The spring up front and pin should pop right out. They're going to go just like that. And so this is your recoil spring and pin, your pistol, this is the pistol, with the barrel and firing chamber. See, look at the size of this firing chamber. This is what makes me think that this would make a perfect 10 millimeter. And now I have heard of people boring this thing out and making it into a 10 millimeter. I think that would work very well. In fact, I think I may look into that. That would be an interesting thing. But anyway, the mechanism, or the pistol, gets laid down here. Then you are left with the slide with the firing pin assembly. Here is the doll's head. They call it a doll's head because it looks like a doll's head. And that's the base with the hole going through it that the pin holds in place. Then you have your dual firing pin springs and your firing pin. Now, normally what I would do is I would clean the face here, down in here. I would clean all in here because you would end up with a lot of residue inside. The back here, you'll see there's a lot of wear where it meets against the frame. And I would clean that. I would clean down inside where the firing pin goes, make sure there's no extra moisture or anything down in there. You want to clean down in the barrel and the firing chamber, and yeah, that would make a great 10 millimeter. And basically clean your release and all of your mechanisms in here and down in the back here. Pay very close attention to your oh goodness, to the opening of the breech here. And once you're done cleaning and you've oiled it up, I'm going to go ahead and add a little oil to this. It feels a little dry to me, by the way. I'm going to dab a little on the firing pin. As a rule, I put a little on the firing pin, not down inside the chamber. The firing pin, I want it to glide down through the chamber pretty easily. I don't put any on the springs for the high points because then it gums them up. But I do put a little on the doll's head because that is where the slide holds on. So you want that to slide pretty freely. So you want the doll's head to move pretty freely because the slide will, that's where a lot of the, what do you call it? Where a lot of the friction is. Also at the bottom of the slide here, I'm putting a little bit of oil down here where you see the metal exposed. Here, I'm just rubbing a little bit of oil there. And then I'm going to rub a little oil. I got a little on my finger. I'm going to probably add a little more. Out here on the outside of the block and on the barrel. Because that is where some of the action happens there. Alright, so now that we've got that well oiled up, we're going to go ahead and reassemble it. So the first thing we did was we already put the firing pin and the spring back in. I'll go ahead and show you that again real quick. So the firing pin goes firing pin first down inside the back. You would then take the large spring, which is this one, and the small spring, and you would insert the small spring inside the large spring and put that down inside the back. And then it doesn't matter which way you feed the doll's head because both sides look identical. You would just go ahead and feed the doll's head down in there so it sits. So now that part's done. Next, you're going to take your pistol and you're going to feed the tighter coiled side of the spring down inside underneath the firing block. So it goes down up under here. You see how it goes underneath here? Over here, there we go, down under here. See how it goes underneath? And then your pin's going to be facing out. Next, and this is the part where everybody gets very frustrated. High points are a little difficult when it comes to this. The pin and spring like to move around until you get them all the way inside. So they get a little bit funky to get them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that fed down inside, and then I'll show you once I get it. Okay, there we go. All right. There we go. So now, once we get it down inside, then there goes all the stuff out the back. So stuff like this happens. So you notice I just dropped those out the back. Drop the firing pin down inside. Drop the springs down inside. Notice nothing's stopping it. That's because all the firing mechanisms are back here. So I'm going to let that come out, or all the doll's head is right here. So I'm going to put the doll's head down, and then, now that I have it in there, there's a little hole in the back that I'm matching up the doll's head with, and that's going to feed down inside. As soon as you get the doll's head in there, it flattens out like that, which causes the hole to line up back here. All I'm going to do now is push back. You'll see the hole is, there you go, you'll see the hole is all the way through. Now I'm just going to put the roll pin. You can put a little oil on the roll pin to help it out. And then I can push it a little bit with my finger. I'm going to tap it a little with the hammer. Try not to hit the gun. And then I'm just going to let this sit on the table. Put the hole punch on top of it and just tap it in so it's even on both sides. And then, which that's not. And then just give it a little tap. You release. pull the trigger in a safe direction. Good. Reset, pull the trigger. And that's how you disassemble and reassemble the JCP 40 cal Hi-Point. It's actually pretty easy. It's very easy, much like the C9. It just requires a punch and a ridiculously large hammer. How do you guys do your Hi-Point? Do you use this method? Do you use the unscrew method? I've seen people tap these back here and put in a Allen wrench screw. Is that something that you guys have tried? Let me know. If you have, let me know where you got your kit, because I would be interested in something like that. Anyway, leave a comment, go ahead and share, subscribe, and like this video, and we'll see you next time.